Well, hello and welcome. This is a very special celebration. On Monday, Thursday, as a rule, one of the things we like to do here at Sunrise is to gather in the fellowship hall to celebrate the Passover, that is the Seder, the Haggadah, and then after we do that celebration, have a meal together, have dessert, we clear the tables, and we do the Lord's Supper. So what we're doing right now is giving you all the pieces so you can do that at home, because after all, the Passover is very much a home celebration. You're going to learn some of the history behind it. I want to talk about some of the parts and the elements that you set up on the table, but primarily giving you the idea of how you can celebrate. We're going to post this video online, and we'll do it at the beginning of Holy Week. So you can pick an evening or lunch, whenever you'd like to set up a meal. We're not going to be eating the meal here, so that you know we've gathered in the sanctuary because we're used to videotaping here, so we can record it and send it. We've got the piano here. To let you know who's present, I'm going to be telling you the story and showing you how to do that at home. You can use the video and project it or watch it while you do the ceremony. You can use the booklet, which is scanned, and it will be online for you. You can use both of them. I want to give a special thanks to Hannah and to Charlotte and to Colin. They're here to celebrate, and they have a part of the service as well, and you'll see that key part, as well as helping to prepare the elements. Also thanking Heidi and Kent, who are here to celebrate with us and also to provide the music so we can have this whole event together. Now, how do you set up the table? We're going to do a couple of things before we get into the Seder itself. You will see from your booklet there is a platter that's at the main table, and there's some elements on that platter. You will notice that there is an egg, and they're traditionally a roasted egg. Let me give you a warning. I don't know, Hannah, did you try roasting the egg? If you put it in the oven and roast it and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to have a mess in the oven. They tend to explode. You can hard-boil an egg. You can put it into tea to dye it. You can dye it in the shell or take the shell off, your option as well with that. Bitter herb. It's horseradish, which is really tough to find, a horseradish root. So something that looks a lot like it is a ginger root. You can substitute. Lamb shank, or very traditionally, you can use a chicken bone and you can roast it. And that's a roasted one. There's parsley, and then there's the recipe, which will be posted for you for Haroset, which is apples and nuts, and there's a wonderful type of a dish. And all of these have meaning and are going to be used for the service. Now, you can also have grape juice or wine, your option there, and that's used in their cups throughout. We are going to just sort of symbolically do it. I've got just small containers for us to have grape juice, but you can use a full glass. Finally, we're showing you the formal elements of the Seder. There'll be a time for a meal. We're not eating a meal here in the sanctuary. We're just showing you the service itself. As we get ready to go into the Seder, we're going to begin with the God of Abraham praise. You'll see that in your booklet. And then we're going to move in with the kindling, the lighting of the candle. And Hannah, as the woman of the household, is going to be doing that for us. So, Heidi, Kent, when you're ready, if you would like to lead us in the God of Abraham praise.
praise you, living God. We praise your holy name, the first, the last, beyond all thought, and still the same.
Thank you. As we move the camera over to the table with Hannah, Charlotte, and Colin, we're going to move into the kindling, which is traditionally done by the women of the household along with the prayer. Mike, there we go.
May the festival lights we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, O God of freedom.
And then you may light the candle.
Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us by your commandments and has commanded us to kindle the festival of lights.
And Hannah, you were right. We needed to trim those wicks down, didn't we? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shenanahu kitzmanu hino las man hazah. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. Now we move into the Kaddish. Let us give thanks to God for his deliverance of our ancestors from slavery of Egypt. We thank him for blessing us, his children, with parents and friends, with home and synagogue, and with school. And beginning the blessing of cups, there will be 4 cups during this Seder. And so lifting the cup, say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Now, there is parsley at the table. And so I invite you to pick up the parsley, and there will be a dish at the table that has salt water. And part of the story here with salt is salt was so precious in the ancient world. Literally, the salt taxes. It was as precious, if not more so, than money. You did not have containers of salt on the table. You would take a little bit of salt and dissolve it into water, which of course becomes symbolically tears. So as you dip the parsley into the salt water, before eating it, we recite the following blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, creator of the universe, creator of the fruit of the earth. And then you may eat the parsley dipped into the salt water. Now everyone will have a piece of matzah. And what we're going to do is we're going to break this into pieces. So it is broken into half. And I'm going to wrap this one piece to save it for later. Now there's a big story behind this one, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the story. This is known as the afikomen. It has to be shared at the very end of the evening. You can't have dessert. You can't leave the Passover Seder without the afikomen. It is so important that if something happens to it, if for somehow it sneaks off, it vanishes, or it gets hidden, and that's part of the game, the children have the opportunity, unbeknownst to whoever's leading the Seder, to sneak off with the afikomen, to hide it, and there'll be a special treat to get the afikomen back. Now, the matzah. This is the bread of affliction, the poor bread which our fathers ate in the land of Egypt. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Let all who are in want come and celebrate the Passover with us. We celebrate in a free land. Many Jews in other parts of the world are still in bondage. Next year, may all people be free, and may all humankind everywhere know the blessing of freedom. And now, part of the deep tradition at the Passover table, and I realize I don't have any water with me, and I may be in trouble. No, it's fine. One of the children, or several of the children, are going to ask 4 questions. And so, Kent, I'm going to ask you if you will turn the video over, and Charlotte, are you asking the questions? So Charlotte will ask the questions, and these prompt the story, the teaching, the traditions. Thank you, Charlotte.
Why is this night different from all other nights? On all other nights, we eat either leavened or unleavened bread. On this night, why only unleavened? On all other nights, we eat all kinds of herbs. On this night, we especially eat bitter herbs. On all other nights, we do not dip herbs at all. On this night, we dip them twice. On all other nights, we eat either sitting or leaning. On this night, why do we eat in a leaning position only?
And now for some of the history. This night is different from all other nights because by this Seder service, which is the order of the Haggadah, we recall our deliverance from Egypt, the house of bondage. We eat only unleavened bread tonight because when our ancestors left Egypt, they were in such a great hurry that there was no time to prepare the ordinary bread out of dough that has to be leavened. So they made a thin bread instead out of unleavened dough that could be baked quickly. These matzah are to remind us of that special bread. We eat only bitter herbs tonight to remind ourselves of the bitter time our people had in Egypt before God delivered us. We dip the herbs twice tonight for 2 separate reasons. The first time we dip the parsley in salt water so that we shall remember that everything that grows is a gift of God, and that for this gift of food we owe God thanks. The second time we dip the bitter herb in the Haroset to remind ourselves of the bricks and mortar that our forefathers made while they were in harsh service to Pharaoh. Tonight we eat in a leaning position because tonight each Jew is like a king in his house, in his palace. Because tonight our slavery is ended and we celebrate this festival of Passover as free people, thanking God for everything that God has done for us. And part of the leaning comes from the Roman world. Everyone ate with cushions in a leaning position, and it's part of feeling that freedom and being truly one in your own household and not the social condition outside of the household. If God had not brought our forefathers out of the land of Egypt, we too would have been slaves. But because we were set free and because God delivered us, we celebrate this feast of Passover that we have set apart this night from all other nights of the year, that we may remember the day of your deliverance from Egypt, all the days of your life. Why have we just read that Pharaoh promised to let us go, and that God set us free and delivered us from Egypt? And the important part of this one is it's not locked in history. Every year in the celebration, there is the reminder that we as a people are set free by God here and now in the present. As we move on with the rest of the Seder, we're going to sing when Israel was in Egypt land, or sometimes known as Go Down Moses.
When Israel was in Egypt's land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. Thus saith the Lord, bold Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll smite your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. No more shall they in bondage toil. Let my people go. Let them come out with Egypt's spoil. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt's land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go.
The Bible tells us how Moses came before Pharaoh and asked him to let our people go. But Pharaoh refused. Then a plague came upon the Egyptians, and Pharaoh was frightened. He promised Moses that he would let us go if only the plague would cease. But when the plague did cease, Pharaoh would not keep his word. So another plague was sent. 10 times was Egypt punished with plagues, and each time Pharaoh promised to free us. But he always broke his word until the greatest plague, the death of the firstborn, made him listen to Moses and made him let our people go in peace. These are the 10 plagues which we recall in these drops of wine. And the tradition there is that you literally can drop wine for each one of the plagues as you read them. Blood, frogs, vermin, murrain, insects, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, and finally, the slaying of the firstborn. So we give thanks for our deliverance from Egypt. But Pharaoh is not the only tyrant who has tried to destroy us. God has saved us from many evils, and for our blessings we are grateful and give thanks to God. How did the Passover get its name? Just before the plague of the slaying of the firstborn of the Egyptians, the children of Israel sacrificed a lamb and marked the doorpost of their homes with the blood. In this way were the houses of the Jews distinguished from when the plague came through the land. The roasted bone recalls the lamb that was slain and is a memorial of God's deliverance. Why do we include a roasted egg in our festival symbols? The egg reminds us of the sacrifices which the children of Israel used to bring to the temple in Jerusalem in ancient times. Why do we set aside 3 special matzahs? 2 of the matzahs represent the double portion of the bread we have on every holiday. The 3rd matzah is the bread of affliction. What does afikomen mean? The afikomen is the half of the middle matzah, which is hidden until the meal is finished. Afikomen means dessert. So we wait until the end of dinner to eat it. Who was Elijah? And why do we have a special cup of wine for him? Elijah was a great prophet of helpfulness and comfort. The special cup is to remind us that his Spirit must always dwell in the midst of the Jews, and we will recognize the hope, the promise of the return of Elijah later in the Seder. But I want to note that at the table is the most special chair in the household that's left empty for Elijah, and the cup waiting for Elijah, which is also the finest cup in the household. That's why that is set aside at this side of the table. Barak atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boipren hagafen. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. And we take a sip of the wine. The upper matzah is broken, and it is distributed before eating. Barak atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boipren hagafen lakamen ha-haratz. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth. Now we're moving closer to the meal time, and so there is the blessing for the matzah that you heard. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who hallows our lives with commandments, who has commanded us regarding the eating of matzah. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who hallows our lives through commandments, who has commanded us regarding the eating of morah. We now eat what is known as the Hillel sandwich. You have broken the matzah into another two pieces, and you have elements here in front of you. So before we enter into the meal, we make what's known as the Hillel sandwich. Hillel was a great rabbi, and who suggested that you combine a number of the elements. So you take the matzah, the haroset, which represents the mortar, and you place that on the matzah. You want to use these elements. You take some parsley if you choose, but also you have the horseradish as the bitter herb. Be careful with the horseradish. It will clear your sinuses. But you go ahead and you place it, and you put the two pieces together, making what is known as a Hillel sandwich. And then you eat it. Think of it as an appetizer. You certainly may, if you wish. You may also eat the egg. And then there is the pause, the break for the meal. We're not going to be eating a meal here in the sanctuary. We have simply established for you the Seder, the order of the Passover. And so then we're going to move directly into the search for the afikomen, which would come after the meal. So you may stop the video, take the break, have a meal together. There are suggested recipes for different dishes that are traditional, and you may prepare any or all of those as you wish, or any meal that you want. You can tell stories, open up the Bible, go ahead and read again some of the passages. This is a time of learning and of sharing.